So our Baltimore Ravens are less than 10 days away from our first preseason action where we get to see our Ravens out there in live game action against the Philadelphia Eagles. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely continue to dominate in training camp. We got an unfortunate injury from a young and hungry player that's been making plays throughout training camp in Malik Ham, but the Ravens did make a correlating move, adding another outside linebacker with some potential. We also got Ronnie Stanley addressing the media and much more. So welcome in to another episode of Ravens Reports. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock, as always, bringing y'all our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Ravens today. We are in the middle of the dog days of training camp where it's hot. Guys are pushing through. Ronnie Stanley talked about that. So let's go ahead and dive into the content. At number 1, our guy Akbar on Good Morning Football had this very nice comparison that I really like regarding Lamar Jackson and the new addition, Derrick Henry, that I'm just absolutely fired up for. We'll get to see Derrick Henry taking a handoff from Lamar Jackson exactly 37 days against the Chiefs, where they're going to get some revenge from that AFC Championship. But here's what Akbar had to say on Good Morning Football.
And what they've done in this offseason by picking up Derrick Henry is equivalent to when the Los Angeles Lakers brought in Shaquille O'Neal to help out Kobe Bryant. This is the Shaquille O'Neal right here. I mean, this dude is a monster. When you give him the ball, if he's averaging over 5 yards a carry, he's going out and running like 2020 Derrick Henry. Let me tell you, as a defensive player, ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody want to see that type of nonsense. You think I want to see Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in the backfield? Like, that is a nastiness nobody is prepared for. And what they've done in this offseason.
I'll be the first one to tell you that 12 personnel is going to be Todd Monken's best friend. It's going to be an absolute problem for opposing defenses because, not to insult anyone's intelligence, but if you don't know what 12 personnel is, the first number is the amount of running backs on the field. The second number is the amount of tight ends on the field. So it'd be 1 running back and 2 tight ends. For the Ravens starters, it would be Derrick Henry in the backfield, Isaiah Likely, and Mark Andrews at tight end. Whenever an offense rolls out their 12 or 13 personnel packages, defenses are usually suiting up against the run. And when you have Derrick Henry in the backfield plus Lamar Jackson with the option, you got to look out for that run to be a legitimate threat with 2 tight ends that can block. So defenses are probably going to be in their larger, slower personnel packages, and that's going to open up a whole lot of opportunities for play action and Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews catching passes all over the field. And, you know, your top 2 receivers with Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers, they're going to eat as well. 12 personnel is going to create a constant issue for defenses because you can run the ball or pass the ball extremely effectively out of that personnel grouping, especially with the 3 guys you got there in that personnel with Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, and at number 2, speaking of these tight ends, they continue to dominate. Isaiah Likely was undefendable yesterday. Today, Mark Andrews was the guy, and he was consistently making plays. There was this highlight that we got to see of Lamar Jackson rolling back with some pressure, the sidearm kind of angle flick out, nice spiral, hits Mark Andrews. He makes a diving catch. We've seen it 1,000 times. Lamar and Mark coming in the league together in 2018, they've been working together, making a lot of plays like this for a long time, and they're going to continue that streak in 2024. More on camp today. Isaiah Likely and Sean Ryan all had strong days on offense. Roquan Smith, Brandon Stevens, and Nate Wiggins were active on defense. Also, multiple reports that the run game was looking good today with some nice big chunks in the run game. After Isaiah Likely's big practice yesterday, it's reported Mark Andrews delivered today multiple big catches and a touchdown grab and that full extension leaping grab that we just talked about. So that's all good news. Now let's get to some less good news. At number 3, Malik Ham goes down with a season-ending injury. I believe it was a knee injury. He was added to the season-ending IR, the injured reserve list. And here's what his defensive coordinator, Zachary Orr, had to say about it.
About the practice field, we haven't seen Adisa Isaac out here. Is outside linebacker depth becoming a little thin for you guys? Is that a concern for you?
I think obviously losing Ham was tough, man. Our prayers are with him. So, we're still excited about Adisa. Hopefully we get him back soon. But I think we got guys that can help carry the load until Adisa gets back. I mean, you got Malik Harrison, who we've been training there. He's doing a heck of a job at the outside linebacker position, along with, Dafe, Kyle Van Noy, Ajabo, T-Rob. So definitely, you'd like to have another guy since Ham went down, but those guys are competing and doing a good job.
If you guys have been watching the channel for a while, I've thought really highly of Malik Ham, and he did some really good things in preseason and training camp the last 2 years. And he's really flashed as a natural pass rusher, consistently getting back there in the quarterback's face. He's also reportedly had a pretty strong camp this year as well and was flashing into the backfield. But that season comes to an end. Obviously hurts the Ravens' outside linebacker depth there, but also, man, I just heard from Malik Ham, who's young and hungry, trying to make a name for himself, fighting and making plays as an undrafted free agent, and with a chance to make an impact on the NFL roster. Really unfortunate. I hope he recovers very well, very clean procedures, and he comes back ready to go next year. As far as the Ravens' outside linebacker depth after that, I do feel pretty good because Tavius Robinson has been making plays all throughout training camp, has come in better shape, after being a rookie last year and getting some playing time. I think he was around 29% of snaps last year. I looked to see that uptick anywhere between 40 and 60%, depending on how many snaps David Ajabo demands as he looks to bounce back from last year. But you also got Malik Harrison, who's played and filled that role at a decent level. You have Kyle Van Noy, and you got rookie outside linebacker Adisa Isaac, who's still recovering with that groin/hamstring injury, looking to come back here shortly. But at number 4, the Ravens did go ahead and add some more depth at that position, signing outside linebacker Quincy Rocher, former Steelers 6th-round draft pick out of Miami. He ended up getting released by the Steelers in 2021, landing on the Giants after they picked him off waivers. With the Giants, he played in 14 games. He actually started 3 of those games after, just getting claimed off waivers, logged 2.5 sacks, 38 tackles, and a forced fumble. He then bounced around a couple other teams, and last year spent some time on the Vikings practice squad. But this is a guy that has flashed. He looked good and made plays in Steelers training camp, but just didn't make the roster his first year. He's bounced around a couple teams. He has NFL sack production, 2.5 sacks, 3 starts with the Giants a few years ago, bounced around. But the thing here is he's only 26 years old, so he's still pretty young. To put that in perspective, he's the same age as fellow outside linebacker Tavius Robinson. This could also open up a window of opportunity for undrafted free agent linebacker Joe Evans. In college at Iowa, he had 9.5 sacks, 28 tackles, a forced fumble, and 4 passes defensed. Really productive player at college. The reason why he went undrafted is because he's a little bit older. He's 25 years old, and he doesn't have the ideal height and length. He's 6'2", but he's a heck of a football player that really hits hard, high effort, high motor, and we've seen undrafted free agent guys, come on and definitely make an impact. We just saw it with Keaton Mitchell last year. Another undrafted free agent I have my eye on is wide receiver Dayton Wade, who's been consistently making plays, who I'm excited about as well. Let me know in the comments section below, out of the undrafted rookies, who do you think has the best shot to make the roster? And at number 5, Ronnie Stanley speaks on Andrew Voorhees, who, man, he's getting a lot of praise from his coaching staff and teammates. I think Voorhees is all but won that left guard spot. I know he's got to do what he does in preseason and not fail miserably, and screw up, make a bunch of mental errors and stuff like that. But I think Andrew Voorhees has got that left guard spot on lock, and I think he's going to be a nice starting guard for the Ravens. Not just barely winning the spot. I think he's going to be a dude on the Ravens offensive line next to Tyler Linderbaum, and then Ronnie Stanley, who's feeling the best he's felt in years. He said he's already playing and feeling better than he was last year during the season. But he had something to say on Andrew Voorhees and his motivation. We'll go ahead and play both those clips.
Times he couldn't really be on the field in practice. He's been in all the meetings. He's been here throughout all the offseason. And, I come out, I'm very impressed with how fast he's learning things, how fast he's getting up to the speed of the game, how good of a shape he's in. And everything is, moving really fast for him, but he's also adjusting really fast, and he's getting better and better every day.
And all this stuff, is it fair to say that this is the most motivated that you've been?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty fair. I think the last couple of years have not been my best, and I haven't really been happy about it, since a long time, since I can remember as a football player. So I feel like I have a lot to prove to myself and just be the player I know I can be. And, they say there's no testimony without a test. So I'm very fortunate to just have the opportunity to prove myself and to prove that what I know I can do.
So a healthy Ronnie Stanley is a happy Lamar Jackson, right? Ronnie Stanley, we saw in 2019, the all-pro year. Then we've seen dips, highs and lows from his play at times without, with being just littered with injuries. But this year, he's feeling great. He's healthy. He's practicing. And he's very hungry. He's very motivated. He's still only 30 years old, which is actually relatively young for tackles that play sometimes into their 40s. I think the left side of the line is looking really good with, obviously Leonard Baum in the middle, Voorhees and Stanley. I think that's going to be a nice little trio there. On the right side, a little bit more concerned because right guard, that's up in the air right now. That's probably the biggest question mark. Daniel Falele is apparently getting a lot of the first team reps right now after transitioning from right tackle. He got beat today by Travis Jones. You saw it in that clip where Lamar Jackson was, scrambling out to the right, throwing that dart to Mark Andrews with a diving catch. He's still learning that position and adapting. We'll see how preseason games will go a long way in determining that right guard spot. But right tackle is also a bit of a question mark because Patrick McCarry's probably going to start the year. He's been the reliable guy that the Ravens coaching staff can trust. He got a lot of playing time last year, and he's usually pretty, sound with his technique and pass protection. He's gritty and he battles. At some point in the season, though, I do think that Roger Rosengarten will emerge as the starter on the right side. But right now, he's learning an NFL playbook and adapting to the speed of the game. So the right side is the bigger question mark than the left side for me. As always, let me know what you think about it in the comments section below. And leave the video a like if you got any value out of today's content. It really does help out the channel. Thank y'all for tuning in. I love you guys, and I appreciate every single one of you. We'll see you in the next video.
When he wasn't looking, he ran me over.